Hey guys, this position, it's white to play and win. Black's pawns are going down the board in this direction, and this is one of the most fascinating checkmates I think I've ever seen. Now, before we get back to the puzzle, I want to say thank you to this video's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of courses across a broad range of topics. They are ad-free and they're continuing to add new courses every week, so there's always something new to be learned. I'm actually currently in the middle of taking a class called the Complete Notion Course 2022 Boost Your Productivity by Yanis Poulakis. It's essentially a course that teaches you how to use Notion and tips and tricks that go along with that. So if you're not familiar, Notion is like a note-taking, to-do list, sort of organizational type of app. It can do a lot of different things, which I'm learning about in this course. I've already started to be able to use some of those tips and tricks, so that's been super helpful. If you are interested in checking out Skillshare, there is a link in the description below where the first 1,000 people who use it will get 1 month free on Skillshare. So make sure you take advantage of that. You can take a lot of classes in a month and it's completely free. So definitely check that out in the description below. But having said that, let's get back to the puzzle. So like I mentioned, it's white to play and win. And before I say anything, if you'd like to pause and try to figure out what the winning move is for white, go ahead and do that now. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I don't think very many people are going to get the first move. Actually, I'd be very surprised if you figured out the first move on your own without seeing this puzzle prior. All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, let me just explain a couple of things that are going on here. First of all, the king is completely trapped. So it almost looks like we might have a potential smothered checkmate with the knight. The problem is the rook here is covering this square. And if we try to go over here, the knight is covering this square. So none of those work immediately. Also, we have a rook and a queen that we could potentially use. And so one idea that comes to mind might be something like bringing the rook over here to line up on this pawn. However, the problem with that is even if we were able to do this and black sort of wasted a move, this is actually not checkmate because once we do this, now the king has a place to run. So that doesn't quite work. So because of that, it might make sense to flip the order. So instead of having the rook behind the queen, we might want to bring the queen back, bring the rook over, and then try to do the same thing so that ultimately we end up with the queen landing on that square. The problem is we don't have time to do this. So if we play the move queen to a8, it gives black the option to develop their queen, and now the queen is starting to come into the game. And if we try to go with our plan, well, the queen's going to come over here and put us in check and start defending, and now black's going to win. All right. The reason that right now black's queen can't leave is because we have a checkmate here with our rook and our queen. So we're temporarily kind of tying down black's queen, but as soon as we play a move like queen e8, well, that's no longer a problem for black. Okay, so with all of that in mind, what else could we potentially play? Well, the move is the stunning and absolutely incredible king to a8. And you're probably thinking, what? What is going on? Why would we move our king into the corner completely away from all the action? Like, how in the world could this move accomplish anything? Well, the main point behind this move is that we'd like to swing our rook over to h7, but we don't want it to be captured with check. So for example, if we go back, if we were to play rook h7 immediately, black simply takes it with check. Now we have to move our king or something, and then black has time to probably bishop h2 is a move, pins our knight, lots of different things black could do depending on what we did, but we're trying to avoid that check. Now, why do we want to bring the rook over here in the first place? Well, once this rook moves, remember that rook was guarding the smothered checkmate here on g2. So we would like to lure that away so we can finish off the game with the knight. Okay, so that's kind of the initial point behind king to a8. Also, king to b8 would potentially put us in line with this bishop where we might get pinned in some lines. And so king to a8 seems like the better choice. We'll come back to why king to c8 doesn't work in just a little bit. So now you might be thinking, well, okay, that's great. What is black going to do? Well, rook to h8 check seems like a good option because, yes, they're temporarily leaving this, but they're doing it with check. And so they should be fine. And now we have another absolutely mind-boggling move. If you'd like to pause and try to find this one, good luck. Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the move for white is queen to e8. And yes, that's a free queen. And yes, it's a free queen with check. So why on earth would we do that? Well, the point is we're luring this rook away so that we have the smothered checkmate. And even though it's with check, it still doesn't have time to get back and cover this square. So we play the move king to a7, which is actually really important. If you play king to b7, black has this sneaky move rook to b8 check. And if you take it, there's bishop to h2. And the knight is pinned, and now black actually wins. So you can't do that. So you have to play king here. But the point is that black's in trouble. You can't stop this checkmate unless you have one way that you could do that, is create an escape route for the king, something like moving the knight. But then we have this other smothered checkmate because the knight was guarding that before, but since the knight moved, now we have this. So basically there's two smothered checkmates, and black can't stop both of them. The only thing you could do is waste a move here, and then next move, it's going to be checkmate in one of these ways, regardless of what black does. So that's the point. That's the idea behind king to a8, is that we're going to be blocking this check with queen to e8. Now, the last little bonus question that I didn't answer yet was, why did we have to play king to a8 instead of king to c8? The reason lies in this idea. If we go king to c8, let's just say black plays a random move like f5. Remember what the whole point of moving to the back rank was? We wanted to play rook to h7 to lure this rook away or capture it and then deliver the checkmate. But now, watch what black can do. Queen to b2, and if we take this rook, black can play the move c1 queen with check. And we have to deal with this by moving our king somewhere, let's say king to d8. And now black has two queens, which are able to basically ruin the position for us. Queen to f6, and you can get the idea how both of these queens are going to start moving around, and black is totally fine. So it has to do with the fact that in this particular line, if you imagine if our king was over here in the corner, black wouldn't have this available, and we would still have this checkmate. And so going back, I'll just show you. Here, f5, rook to h7. Now, if black tries the same thing, when we simply take the rook, there is no c1 queen check. Yes, they can throw in this, but that doesn't really do anything. We simply take it. We still have the checkmate. So the important point was to get off of this file, and that's why king to a8, going back to the original position, king to a8 was the only way to win in 5 moves with white. Hope you guys enjoyed that puzzle. Don't forget to check out Skillshare. Link below. First 1,000 people get a free month. I'll see you guys next time. Stay sharp, play smart, and take care.